And Victoria West travels up to Kerrville for a Week 6 match. I'll preview this game later on in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shauna Curry.
And I'm Don Brubaker.
Victoria ISD and the Victoria County Sheriff's Office are stepping up efforts to stop false threats before they start and to keep schools safe.
25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley spoke with the Victoria ISD superintendent. And Ray, what did you learn?
Yes, Sean and Don, the Victoria County Sheriff's Office has reported 11 false threats throughout the district this school year. The threats come from various elementary, middle, and high schools. Victoria ISD Superintendent Sheila Collazo says any threat, whether it's an actual threat or a prank, will be reported to the school resource officer. The officer will then investigate the threat and take appropriate action if it's deemed criminal. This can apply to children as young as 10.
Any threat in any of our campuses is going to be investigated and processed as it should be. If you think about it, the alternative of not investigating would not be good.
Collazo urges parents to educate their children on the seriousness of false threats as it could lead them to being placed in jail. Collazo feels a sense of responsibility to ensure the safety of the students and will continue to cooperate with local law enforcement to do so. Shauna, Don, back to you.
Well, potholes are a nuisance. They can also damage cars, drain wallets, and frustrate drivers. We've been taking a closer look at where they're popping up. Today we found these at Waterford and Sundance Drive. Show us the pothole or potholes that are hindering your commute. Is it causing issues for your vehicle or is it just an eyesore? Email us a picture to staff@crossroadstoday.com. Victoria County Animal Services is out of space and time. An ongoing case has filled the kennel's past capacity, and now the shelter is facing heartbreaking decisions, including possible euthanasia. Director Mark Sloat says they need fosters and adopters right away to save lives. Even a short-term foster can make a huge difference, and adopting a dog into your home today can open up shelter space. Contact Victoria County Animal Services for more information.
We will be under an ozone action day starting at midnight and running through all of Wednesday.
Yes, so some people may want to avoid being outside tomorrow, but let's go to Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. First, you have a look over at the Atlantic and some storms that are kind of having a little dance over there.
That's the situation. First of all, we will talk about the ozone action day, and if you have breathing problems like emphysema or something like that, we'll talk all about that. But a very unusual situation. I mean, it happens, it's just rare. We've got two storms side by side, and one of them is influencing the other. In fact, Humberto is now going north, and Imelda is going to go under it. So the good news is that they're moving away from land, but they are both hurricanes at this time. We'll have more on that and the ozone action day coming up in a moment. Back to you.
It has been 2 days since a mass shooting and arson attack on a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in a small Michigan community. Investigators still searching for a possible motive.
Cole Higgins has the latest details on the investigation and the attacker who died in a shootout with officers.
The investigation into the deadly attack that killed 4 people and left 8 others injured at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan, continues.
I mean, the church is basically gone, and you really cannot imagine. It's just burnt down to the bricks, and the unimaginable terror that went on in that place of worship during a church service. It's hard to take in.
As the community grieves, investigators are combing through the wreckage of the church and searching for a possible motive. The 40-year-old gunman and Iraq War veteran Thomas Jacob Sanford had openly declared his hatred for the LDS Church and its followers.
He did make the statement that Mormons are the Antichrist, which is a shocking statement.
Chris Johns is a city council candidate in Burton, Michigan. He says he met Sanford on the campaign trail about a week before the attack.
He had very strong opinions, nothing that was related to violence that would indicate violence, just somebody who had a very, very strong held belief that really he had maybe a philosophical animus, but not necessarily a desire to do what he did.
He definitely talked about groups of people in ways that weren't acceptable.
Kara Pattison was a friend of Sanford.
If you asked me, out of everybody I know, to pick 10 people you think might do something a little like this. Like, I wouldn't not pick him. And I hate saying that.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
A grandfather and Navy veteran was among those shot and killed in the attack. Other victims of the attack, including children, have not been publicly identified.
An educator in Des Moines, Iowa, detained by ICE agents, is no longer serving as the head of the state's largest school district. Lawyers for Ian Roberts announced today that Roberts resigned his position as superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools. It comes just days after agents arrested Roberts. The Department of Homeland Security says he was in the country illegally and had existing gun possession charges. Roberts' lawyers say they plan to fight his detention. A second detainee shot at an Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Dallas has died. Miguel Garcia Hernandez was one of the 3 detainees shot in the attack last week. A Homeland Security official says the 32-year-old died while still hospitalized after the shooting. Norlan Fuentes, a 37-year-old El Salvadoran national, died the day of the attack. A third victim remains hospitalized. The Texas Department of Agriculture announced it will install fly traps along the border with Mexico to, quote, monitor, detect, and stop the spread of the screwworm. The parasite was confirmed 70 miles from the border and poses a major threat to the state's cattle industry. Officials indicated the traps would be deployed from Laredo to Brownsville in the port areas of Galveston and Corpus Christi and in export pens in Brownsville, Del Rio, El Paso, Laredo, and Houston. Complaints against Texas teachers over their comments on Charlie Kirk's assassination surged to over 300. The Texas Education Agency says it is investigating 351 complaints. It's about a 150 jump from September 17th. The scope of the investigation includes both certified educators and other school staff. Each complaint is being reviewed and investigated. The TEA said it is investigating complaints about teachers whose actions, quote, call for or incite violence, unquote, following the Kirk shooting. Governor Greg Abbott directed Texas DPS to strengthen security efforts surrounding places of worship. This comes after the shooting and fire at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Michigan. Texas DPS security mission will be made up of Texas Highway Patrol troopers, Criminal Investigations Division special agents, and Texas Rangers, supported by DPS Homeland Security Division, to identify threats and prevent attacks before they happen.
A hacker managed to steal sensitive data from FEMA and Customs and Border Protection employees earlier this summer, and it was not a small breach. An internal review called it widespread, saying the hacker had deep access to a FEMA network covering parts of the South and Southwest. The breach set off an urgent response from Homeland Security, and just last month, Secretary Kristi Noem fired 24 FEMA IT staff over serious security failures. So far, it is still unclear who is behind the hack. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, the president wants to force some mentally ill people into treatment, the controversial policy and its challenges.
Also ahead, Congress has hours to avoid a government shutdown, the sticking points keeping Congress apart. That's next.
Our military hero of the month is U.S. Army Specialist 4th Class Joseph Halapaska. The Halapaska family came to the Crossroads about 1910, and they have been a well-known name ever since then. They had 8 children. The family photo of the boys goofing around on this Model T will give you some idea. The mother of the family, Annie Halapaska, would bake wedding cakes at home for extra income during hard times. Then in 1953, the family opened the Halapaska Bakery, and a legend was born. All of the Halapaska children went to St. Joseph's Academy.
Father Otto was the priest. He was pretty strict. He took care of the grass, and if you walked on his grass, then you got to write on the bulletin board, "I shall not walk on the grass."
So it appeared that Joseph had a happy childhood. Lots of family, lots of friends, and a mother with a gift for pastries. But in 1966, Joseph got his draft notice for Vietnam.
Well, it wasn't a career choice. Somebody told me I was going, and so you had a choice of going or running off to Canada, and I don't think anybody was running off to Canada in '66, but I would never considered it anyway. My folks would have disowned me.
A door gunner on a Huey helicopter was one of the hellish jobs in Vietnam, shooting and not knowing who was shooting at you.
What I'm kind of interested in is, I was a door gunner, and anytime we'd come in for a landing, we had this big zone out there, and door gunners would fire into the tree line, just to build our courage if nothing else. Meathead behind me, he had never been out before. He was scared. He put a round, bounced off my damn helmet.
Only recently, Joseph published a book with all of his memoirs from his war service. It took him almost 50 years to put all that down.
She was the one that finally got me to go to the VA in 2015. But that was a long time after coming back. They helped me almost from where to go.
Today, the Veterans Administration and doctors in general know a lot more about how to treat PTSD, a condition that was not even recognized as a problem for almost 100 years. As far as Joseph is concerned, putting it all on paper and out of his mind was beneficial. Other veterans would probably relive similar events. Citizens have a chance to read about why so many of our veterans have troubled memories and how you can help find a way forward. For his service as a door gunner and for putting all those thoughts down on paper, this memoir could help others finally come home. Joseph Halapaska is our military hero of the month. If you know a veteran and you want to tell us their story, go to crossroadstoday.com/military hero and let us know. I'm Maclovio Perez, 25 News Now.
President Trump says he supports reopening psychiatric institutions for people with serious mental illness, pushing states to commit those deemed dangerous and expand treatment options. But there's a big catch. The system's already stretched thin with too few beds, staff, or resources, and past cuts to Medicaid and mental health programs only make things harder. There's also no new funding behind the plan. Research shows most violence is not tied to mental illness, and voluntary care often works better and costs less. The White House has not commented. Former Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney says he urged Biden's White House to pardon Trump. Speaking Monday at an event at Drew University, Romney said he talked to one of then President Biden's aides. He said he told the advisor if the special counsel Jack Smith's investigation prompted the Justice Department to indict Trump, Biden should pardon him immediately. Romney explained his position, saying it's dangerous to prosecute political opponents, but also that principle cuts two ways. Romney also said President Trump is making good on his promise to enact revenge and retribution on his opponents. Well, if anything on your to-do list involves Uncle Sam, you might want to cross that off today. Parts of the federal government could turn off the lights around midnight Eastern time tonight.
And that's due to a funding impasse centered on the cost of health care. Amy Kiley reports on how a shutdown might affect you.
Millions and millions of lives will be upended.
The federal government could shut down tonight and Americans could feel the impact. That's unless Congress reaches an agreement by midnight.
I think we're headed to a shutdown because the Democrats won't do the right thing.
Sticking points remain. Democrats want to undo recent Medicaid cuts and preserve certain Obamacare subsidies. They also want to make it harder for the president to cut funds Congress has approved.
This relates to the well-being and the health of the American people.
In a shutdown, non-essential federal employees face furloughs. For Americans, that might affect customer service, paperwork, national parks, food inspections, and more. The White House is even threatening to fire some workers.
The federal workforce is already shrinking rapidly, down by 97,000 jobs.
Social Security payments will continue, but the timing could be confusing. Today, an unrelated executive order is ending paper government checks. Meanwhile, a shutdown could cause travel delays.
Planes will take off, but it's going to be a massive strain on the system.
Some experts worry a government closure could hurt the economy. It also could delay the release of economic reports crucial to investors and the Federal Reserve.
This will be a momentous week for the U.S. economy and the financial markets.
I'm Mimi Kiley reporting.
As Amy hinted, paper checks from the federal government are about to be a thing of the past. The Treasury Department plans to stop issuing paper checks for most payments as of today. That includes to Social Security beneficiaries as part of the Trump administration's effort to fully modernize federal benefits payments, save money, and fight financial fraud. The change will also affect how the IRS issues tax refunds.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. We're at 91 degrees today, lots of sunshine and more warm weather. Last day of September, tomorrow is October. Will it cool down? Well, not in the short term. 93 was our high today. That's above average for this time of year. Coming up, we'll be talking about the air pollution problem that we're probably going to have tomorrow, and of course, all that stuff going on the East Coast. Coming up in a moment. Well, the fact that it's going to be October tomorrow, it's a good sign, right? Sooner or later, it'll start getting cooler, but it's just not going to be in the short term. High pressure is still on top of us until we get some big, huge cold front coming in from the north. We're going to stay on the warm side. We had a deck of clouds that sort of drifted over the area today, but that didn't amount to anything. We look at the big picture, and I look at this. This is another Pacific Northwest major storm, okay? And the reason I look for it, because these come in, put a lot of rain and snow in the mountains, eventually cross the Rockies and get down into the plains. But that's going to be about 5 days, so we'll watch for that and hope for the best. Here's our frontal system that's bringing in some cold air to the northeast, and it's very interesting. It's also keeping the tropical storms at bay. As a matter of fact, those storms are doing a very interesting little dance. As we mentioned earlier, we do have a pollution problem. Well, we have a pollution problem every day. It's just that the winds here along the coast generally blow it away. Well, in populated areas, Houston and now Victoria County, we have an ozone action day for tomorrow. What that means is that the pollution that we create is going to be affected by the sunlight. There is no breeze to blow it away, so it's probably going to break down into ozone. Ozone is not a good thing to breathe, and so if you have lung problems, emphysema, anything like that, it's probably a good idea just to stay indoors and not be in the outside. It's not a huge problem, but it's basically for sensitive people. If you have that kind of illness, then you should consider it. Other than that, hopefully we'll get a breeze coming in to blow that away. I got an eyelash stuck here and I can't get it out, so forgive me. All right, let's take a look at the East Coast. We've got Humberto here already doing a dance with Imelda. Now, why am I saying that? We see this occasionally, not often, but rarely, when two storms basically are spinning vortex are side by side. They begin to influence one another. So what is happening here is Humberto is getting pulled north while Imelda is going to get pulled under it. So they're going to be doing sort of a dance. So here's the latest situation. As you can see, Imelda now beginning to pull away from land and begins to pull out, but it's going to go under Humberto. You'd think it'd go over it, but it's going to go under because this one is going to push this one around. And so even though Imelda is also a hurricane, they're influencing each other. Now here's the rain that's coming down. As you can see, it's really, really close. They've got all kinds of stormy weather problems, and on the outer banks of North Carolina, they've already lost about 5 or 6 houses that came down because of the high surf. So it's a continuing problem there. But by tomorrow, a lot of this will start to move. Now watch how Humberto goes up a little bit real quick, right about there. And then Imelda then starts to pull under, okay? It's kind of a weird dance, but one pulls the other one around. Eventually, these two are supposed to merge somewhere up here, so we'll be certainly watching that. For you and me, here in the Crossroads, we just got a continuation of a late summer. And the forecast for tomorrow in Port Lavaca, it looks pretty good. Partly cloudy in the afternoon with a 94 as a high. Those of you in Cuero getting up to 96. So now it doesn't feel much like fall, but at least it'll be dry for the weekend. By Friday and Saturday, we pick up just enough moisture to maybe pop some clouds and maybe pop 1 or 2 little afternoon showers. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Shauna.
All right, well, now we send it over to Max Williams for sports, and we're talking volleyball.
That's right, Shauna. Tuesday night, so that means volleyball action. We're going to talk about 2 top matchups. We're going to keep an eye on here for Tuesday night. I'll tell you all that coming up next in sports. Now, you at home yesterday voted that the most intriguing game to watch there in Week 6 was between Victoria West Warriors going out to face the Kerrville-Tivy Antlers in district play. And I don't disagree with everyone there from yesterday because, again, for West right now, they're undefeated at 5-0 while Tivy heads in this matchup at 4-1. And last year, West was actually undefeated at this point in time, and they would beat Tivy at home here last Memorial Stadium 45-26. And they're looking for a similar result because this year for West, they got a trio of running backs with Genesis Jeffries, Brody Flores, and Andrew Henley, but also their quarterback as well, and Nolan Boyce. has been effective there for the Warriors this season. It's not just with his legs, but also his arm as well. And again, their defense has made some plays too under the new defensive coordinator Ryan Montavo, and also Jacob Freeman is their top tackler on the team there for the West Warriors. And they're looking to stop an Antlers offense who in their 4 victories have scored over 40 points over in all their 4 victories, including in their game against San Antonio Harlandale for their district home opening victory. And again, for West, they're trying to get a big time victory on the road. And over to 3A, where the Goliad Tigers are 3-1. They face off versus the Palacios Sharks, who are looking for a big-time district victory and an upset, for that matter, over Goliad, who's been effective with their running back Donovan Perry and their quarterback Cord Zamzow. But you can't sleep also well on Finn Waylick there at the defensive back spot. Again, when I was talking with him back there a couple weeks ago there for CFL, he is now fully healthy to play there at defensive back there for Goliad. He looks to make some big-time stops against an offense for the Sharks led by Alex Weaver, and also their running back as well, Trey Wexelman, pardon me. Again, they've been huge as well. They had a loss last week to West Oso 18-8, so they're hoping to get a big-time victory, kind of get the season started to finish off getting those splash plays later on. Now over to volleyball action, where most teams are now in district play, only have 1 more month officially until the playoffs start, and one team is looking to make some noise out there still in district at the St. Joseph Lady Flyers, who are currently battling St. Mary's Hall right now as we speak. And again, for the Lady Flyers, they are 32-10 overall, 4-0 in district play, and they've got some big production from Jordan Johnston, Maylee Montgomery, and Zoe Henning. And both of these teams, again, are undefeated right now in district. And again, this could possibly decide who wins there at TAP's 5A District 4 title later down the road. Now, speaking of Goliad, we talked about it in football. Well, in volleyball, they're the #1 team out there in 3A ranks, and they face district opponent Poth Pirates at the game's going to start at 7 p.m. For the Tigrettes, they're 2-0 in district and 29-3 overall, and they beat ranked #10 team last week, Stockdale, in straight sets, and they're looking for kind of similar results. We'll have those 2 game highlights and a lot more scores later on for 25 News Now Sports at 10 p.m. And then finally, we got some swimming is starting up too. The VISD Swim Classic going to be held tonight at Victoria Aquatic Center. Now, this event was supposed to happen last Wednesday, but due to the weather, it was rescheduled to tonight. So there will be 3 teams competing in this competition, with Victoria West, East, and El Campo making all the trip all the way to Victoria. And we're going to have some of these results and footage, just like volleyball action, later on there for 25 News Now Sports at 10 p.m. And that's going to do it here in sports. Don, Shauna, back to you.
Max, thank you. We're back in a moment. Find out why a major California freeway had to be shut down early this morning. Finally tonight, a California freeway had to be shut down early this morning after a crash involving 2 big rigs led to cans of beer being spilled all over the roadway. It happened on the 210 freeway in the Irwindale area. No word on if anyone was hurt. Details about what led up to the collision were not immediately available, but I'm sure that truck driver has a few tears in his beer over that.
Beer.
My
Party
word.
foul.
Oh.
That is. That's a,
And
that's a
if
pretty
you
big
picked any
collision,
up,
too.
make sure you let it rest a little bit before you open
Oh,
it.
yes. Yes. Otherwise, surprise.
Surprise. Well, we've got no surprises in weather. We continue with this abundant sunshine that's going to be with us right on through the weekend. That's good if you've got outdoor plans. As we get into Saturday, Sunday, more Gulf moisture rolls in, and we may have just one or two little afternoon showers popping up with the sea breeze. Other than that, it's on the quiet side for the Crossroads.
And we do have the Ozone Action Day
Tomorrow's an Ozone Action Day. People with sensitive lung conditions, it's advised that you stay indoors and not be outside breathing too much.
Haven't heard about Ozone Action Days in a while. It seems like it's been a while
We've
since
done
really
well
had
for a
one.
while, but here it is.
Yeah.
It's all how the weather sets up.
All right. Thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us.